Good evening, everybody. We are live. Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's stream. I am Joseph. I am one half of Power Couple, and I am going to be your host tonight, at least for the first half of it, we hope, for the fun train that's going on tonight. As usual, just as we did yesterday and today, I want to take up and continue really working on my Final Fantasy XIV character that I created not too long ago. I'm excited to bring a little bit more Roger Moore action with you guys. I promise I'm maybe not the worst tank ever. I might be very close to it. I do have a little bit of experience, so I hope to not make everybody really angry with me, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Please do not forget to follow, subscribe, or catch any of our videos over on our on demand for you to see. I know our very first stream is up for you guys, and if you are really curious about more content, please, below the stream, we've got all of our links to our social media for you to check out, and if you make your way over to YouTube, we got some extra videos on there for you guys as well. Again, Joseph is with you this evening, looking to have a lot of fun. Let's make our way over to Final Fantasy XIV. Alright guys, it's time for my favorite part of Final Fantasy XIV. Every single time that I make my way to play this, it's time to sit and wait for a minute while we wait for the queue to clear up in front of us. So for those who are tuning in for the first time, I have Roger Moore. I am a 007 fan. I know that one of the last times that I was on, we had an individual who pointed out, oh wow, I'm a 007 fan as well, Roger Moore, best 007. I agree with you, friend, but I'm taking up where we left off, which is we had just completed getting through defeating Leviathan hard mode, and my paladin, level 53, it's the highest class that I got. We're looking to continue doing the main quest of the 7th Astral Era, which is where our main quest takes over after the original Realm Reborn of the 7th Umbral area, I believe is the name of the original main quest. Obviously, we gotta wait for the queue to clear up in front of us, but once we do that, we're starting, and we're gonna get onto this. I know last time I couldn't help but just get down on myself just a little bit, tiny bit of perfectionist. The last time for our first stream, I go through all that trouble of talking about how we went through to make sure that everything was going to try and be perfect, and I realize, if you haven't noticed from the difference on today's stream to last stream, is that I actually forgot to include our logo for the end of our intro animation. I was like, that's such a bummer, but thankfully I caught my mistake, we changed it up, and thankfully we're good to go now. Alright, so we've got Xanthiel. I always feel really weird when I try to talk about all these different names in Final Fantasy. Half the character names I cannot even begin to pronounce correctly, so my apologies if you're a stickler for that. But we're talking to Xanthiel here. We've got the next quest in line, which is when Yujiri met the Fraternity, which is, if you guys are not aware of what's going on in the story so far, I'm happy to give you a very quick synopsis. So our hero, the Hero of Light, just went through defeating one of the primal beasts. We just got done defeating Leviathan. Okay, we've got Yujiri, who is the leader of a group of individuals from a Far East land who were persecuted by the Garleans. Their homeland was taken from them, and they were subsequently forced to go onto ships and sail towards Eorzea, or at least the part where we're located in the game. They make their way over to Horizon seeking refuge, and unfortunately we've got Ul'dah coming up and saying, sorry guys, the council comes in, they make a ruling saying that they're not allowed to stay there. Unfortunately, they're not able to stay, but you end up getting assistance from the armies. They end up making their way over to Mordona. That's where they're currently stationed. Unfortunately, after defeating Leviathan, the same thing happens again. Limsa Lominsa is unable to take in the refugees. However, they're able to give supply. So that's 2 areas down, 2 strikes, but they're able to continue to improve their stance in life. And full circle back, Yujiri, their leader, she is, one to make an assumption, a ninja, which is the job class that goes into rogue. And we also have a character within the Scions here of the Dawn, and he is what we would call a rogue character. And if you level up your rogue to level 30, you can take on the ninja side quest, kind of bringing all of this together. So if you went through all of these items beforehand, doing the main quest and getting your character to level 30, what ends up happening is that it all starts to make sense in your main story quest. Now we're starting to introduce the extra features that came in later on in the game. Your ninja is now kind of being introduced to the story, and it makes a nice little bow on everything, so it all makes sense moving forward. So we've got Yujiri now making her way to go check out, one to assume, the Rogue Fraternity. And let's see what we got here for possible items for us to collect on. We've got an Archer, Conjurer, we've got a Black Mage, and an Arcanist Grimoire. Really, I think that if I had to pick between it, I probably would end up going with I need a good healer's weapon, and I know I had said it last time, I do enjoy playing White Mage, so I think I'm going to go with the Omni Rod, but we got to complete the mission first before we can even go down there. Just a heads up for everyone who will be watching, again, thank you for tuning in, but I'm someone that likes to take the time to make sure that you're able to actually see what's going on, have an opportunity to read the text that's on the page. One thing I hate is when you're attempting to go through the story for the first time, and you get people who are pushing you to rush through cutscenes, people that are trying to tell you that you need to rush through, and hinder your enjoyment of the game just because they want to grind through a lot of dungeons. I know for those who don't have the ability to play the game, those who are just trying to enjoy watching the stream and you want to enjoy the story behind Final Fantasy XIV, I don't want to ruin that for you. I want to be, you know, someone that helps you with that. Alright, so now we are going to deliver the Admiral's letter to the inconspicuous man. So he mentions there he was hoping to catch a glimpse of Thancred. Thancred is part of the Scions that we're a part of, this group that allows us to be able to, again, fight the, I guess, the evils that are going on. We're all part of the good side. The Scions are there with you with the Warrior of Light. Thancred is our, I guess, quote-unquote, I guess rogue is an appropriate term, and here's Yujiri coming up. That's our ninja of the group now. Although we're not really worried about Yujiri, she can definitely handle her own in a battle, quite like taking candy from a stranger. If a weird man that you just met tells you to go into a private room, please ignore that man and run quickly and far away from that person. Yujiri, however, is going to gleefully make her way over to learn the ways of the rogue. That was very quick. We processed through it. We got our Omnirod. Add to the collection. And now we can take on our next quest here. Through the Maelstrom. So Ujiri has the air of a woman bursting with gratitude. We've got the Onion Shield, which we already know that's going to be what I select. And let's get on with it. Alright, so we're going to speak with Minfilia over at the Rising Stones over in Moradona. See, I'm kind of lazy. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to travel all the way to Revenant's Toll. I want to do as much, speed traveling and fast traveling as I can here. I'm glad to pay the Gil. It's much better than having to go through 30 minutes worth of going all the way around. As much as I enjoy spending time with you guys, I'm sure you would much rather that we actually make progress in the game rather than just watching me on my behemoth mount going all the way around Eorzea. Although maybe one day or another, if there's a desire for it, we can do the sightseeing log and we can see some of the sights that Eorzea and the land of Final Fantasy XIV has to offer. But I know for me, guys, I work, I have my own business, but for me, I try and do a 9 to 5 when I can, so when the day is over at 5, unless I'm being pulled otherwise, I really, with that 9 to 5, I really like to make sure that I take the time to be able to wind down after work and make it so it's not all work.
If you have a moment, I would share my conclusions with you. Please, bear with me.
So this is a great enjoyment for me.
When the Sahagin Elder summoned Leviathan, he employed the power we have come to know as the Echo. Though I cannot well explain the how of it, it would seem he became immortal in so doing. When the Admiral subsequently slew him, his spirit emerged from his lifeless flesh, a consciousness shorn of physical form.
Alright, Grez1, thank you very much for following the stream. Greatly appreciative to have you here this evening. Thank you very much. I hope I'm not too crappy at being a tank.
Thus transfigured, he took up residence in the body of his minion with the ease of a man donning a favorite glove. Long have I known that the Echo allows one to pass through the walls of a... But never did I imagine that it could free us from our own flesh, nor less that our souls could then occupy the next corporeal vessel to take our fancy. It was of this that Elidibus spoke, an existence which knows neither cessation nor oblivion. And yet, though the Sahagin had mastered his gift and thereby become immortal, he was by no means invulnerable. As we both bore witness, he was ultimately absorbed into Leviathan. And the import of this observation? If the Ascians' mode of existence is indeed the same, it can be inferred that they too are not invulnerable, that they can be destroyed. There exists a legend which tells of souls who are reborn upon the cusp of each umbral calamity, that they might stay the encroaching darkness. To most, it is but a fairy tale, yet recent events have given me cause to wonder, could the legend in fact refer to the Echo? Much and more yet remains unknown, but I am confident that all will become clear in time. For the present, however, what matters is that the key to defeating the Ascians may at last be within sight. With Urianger's aid, it is my hope that I shall fathom this matter ere long.
Speak of the devil.
Oh, I was just about to send for you, my friend. Is Artemis?
Grave tidings from the Sharlayan motherland, my lady. It doth concern our distant allies, the students of Baldessian.
What of them?
So just as a side note for everybody, this has been something that's been taking place since the main story quest kind of ended. We don't really have a great connection to the students that they're referring to, but the general idea is that during one of the cutscenes, Minfilia is trying to hone in, see how everybody's doing, and it's kind of been in the background for a little while now. We're not sure how they are.
My lady, the Isle of Val, which for many years hath been the Order's home, is no more.
Grave news.
No more? Whatever do you mean?
I relate only that which hath been conveyed unto me by our agents. An etheric wave of the highest magnitude was recorded in the region. Soon thereafter, 'twas observed that the isle had ceased to be. 'Tis postulated that a magic was evoked, like in power to Ultima.
12 preserve.
If there are no other matters, I move that today's meeting be adjourned.
Not a fan of Lolo Rito, just for the record. So if anyone had ever had the pleasure of actually taking part in like board meetings or taking part in groups where you had to check in, where you had to, you know, actually board a vote.
It is done, my lord.
It's absolutely horrible. I hate being a part of those meetings, so this is no fun, let alone watching it.
Forgive my impertinence, my lord, but these orders, I am uncertain as to what end they serve.
Revolution.
So up until now, you've thought that Teleji, again, I'm horrible at pronouncing these names, but up until this point, we think that Teleji is perhaps our friend, and in fact, he even seemed to be willing when it came to helping the individuals with Ujiri to gain refuge within Ul'dah if possible. But unfortunately, it looks like he might be up to something a little crazy. We're through the Maelstrom as it shows there, guys, and I told you I was looking to get that Onion Shield. Paladin is my main class. It's what I really want to focus on. I know that I've gone out of my way to level up, and just as a quick point of record here, I can kind of show you. When I first started making this character about a couple of weeks ago, my main focus was on trying to unlock as many classes as humanly possible. I like to be, multiversatile. I like to be able to, if I need to, jump onto a DPS position, be a healer if I need to, even though tank does really hone into me as to what I want to do. So my first line of business was to get everybody to level 30. I did that, and I think we're going to get through the main quest of the 7th Astral Era, get our way over to Ishgard to unlock the Dark Knight, to unlock the Machinist, to unlock Astrologian, to get these extra classes. And then eventually once I reach, I think, level 60, don't hold me to that, hopefully it's not 70. Again, like I said last time, I'd be very disappointed. But then to get myself the Gunbreaker, which I think will end up becoming my main class after I get that. Just because I'm a little bit of a fanboy of the Gunbreaker and dealing with gun blades, I'm thinking that's going to be where I lay my hat. And I definitely, one point or another, want to take the time to go through the Blue Mage quest as well. So let's go ahead and unequip, or at least I can equip that Onion Shield. Equipment seems to be in good shape. I'm happy with that. And now we can take on that next quest. Alright, The Great Divide. Minfilia's thoughts keep returning to the fate of the students of Baldessian? Not sure. Again, horrible at pronouncing these names. My apologies. So Minfilia is going to make her way to go meet these groups of vagrants, people who are looking for refuge. I know that I just kind of gave a little bit of a synopsis regarding that, but you've got Ujiri's group coming from the east after the Garleans had taken over their land. Like I said, they made their way over to Horizon and Ul'dah. Everybody gets turned down, make their way to Limsa Lominsa, unfortunately turned down again. They do have a temporary home over in Mor Dona here, but it appears as though that having Minfilia's kindness of allowing these people to come and take part of the Revenant's Toll has brought other people to the door to try and seek refuge as well. So we're going to go speak with the refugees. Or I can walk right by them too. Unfortunately, we've got her turning down the refugees, but Tataru comes in to give us a word. Let's see what she's got to say. Alphanod has been wounded. Apparently the refugees were not happy. Alright, so it looks like we have to go and make our way to protect and save Alphanod. Unfortunately, there's like a little bit of a I guess a plot hole, or maybe something that I don't fully understand with the mechanics of everything, but at least within the world. Now we've got the Echo, and I know that we've got individuals that can tune in to, you know, like a lodestone, and whenever you see like a character taking their finger and putting it up to their ear, it's like they have radio frequency. I do not know whether or not if Totaro has access to a lodestone, so I'm always wondered where exactly she ended up getting her information from, and why she was able to so quickly be able to give that information. Again, I'm going to be lazy and fast travel, because I don't feel like writing. Alright guys, so first time we're in Ul'dah. I won't lie, I am a Flame you know, fan. I am a Ul'dah fan. Every time I play, I always make sure that I am joining up with the Flames. I have never ever joined any other faction anytime that I've ever played Final Fantasy XIV. This is always my starting point. So, sorry if, if you guys are fans of Limsa Lominsa or you are a fan of Gridania. I'm a fan of Limsa Lominsa for going to their shops and going to the marketplace, but at the end of the day, I always have a soft spot for being in Ul'dah. Alright, let's see. Alphanut doesn't look like he's in any distress.
Come, you must have gathered by now that Tataru is given to exaggeration. As you can see, I am quite well. Ul'dah, on the other hand, is not. This riot was anything but an isolated incident. There is a restlessness in the air. Tensions long simmering are at last threatening to boil over. Ul'dah is a nation infamous for the great disparity between the wealthy and the poor. The majority of the populace accepts this state of affairs because they believe that every man bears responsibility for his own lot in life. To an Ul'dan, money is the foremost, and some would say the only measure of a man's worth. Small wonder that the wealthiest wield the greatest influence. So where do the refugees fit into this social hierarchy? What place is there for those who fled Alamigo and the destruction of the Calamity? Plainly, there is none. They have no wealth, no power, and no worth. To the Ul'dan way of thinking, they may as well not exist. Choosing to ignore their existence, however, is patently not an option. General Rauban and the Sultana understand this, which is why they ordered the Immortal Flames to provide the refugees aid and succor. Yet none would dispute that the expenses incurred by this policy grow by the day, with no end in sight. This has prompted more and more Ul'dans to question their obligation to aid these worthless wanderers. While more and more refugees have come to resent their treatment at the hands of the sneering citizenry. The manner of Lord Lolorito's refusal to grant the Dolmens asylum bespoke a disdain for all refugees, an attitude shared by the rest of the monetarists. And you may be sure they make no effort to conceal their opinions.
So, not to get too political on this, but this is unfortunately a little too real.
It was only a matter of time before the refugees united in protest. Nor is it any surprise that some among them would ultimately resort to violence. That the Immortal Flames should choose this of all occasions to engage in joint training exercises with the other Grand Companies. By the time they return, the situation may well have deteriorated beyond mending.
Alright, the Great Divide is over. We'll take on the next one, Desperate Times. Alphanut wishes to investigate the circumstances surrounding the riot. We can hopefully get to the bottom of this. Alright, so we are going to speak with Relban at the Hall of Flames. Yeah, unfortunately, guys, when your Final Fantasy game starts looking a little too much like real life, things start to get a little uncomfortable. I know, for me, a good part of, obviously, what they take in from the game, can come from personal experiences and come from giving a realistic vibe to it, but a lot of that divide driven from, a community where you've got such a drastic requirement on money and income in order to see some form of success, that can really, unfortunately, ring true in some aspects. And as someone who's done a fair amount of research into disparities within, specifically where I'm from in the United States. It is unfortunately depressing to see said continued disparities within the country. But to kind of have that reflected in your game, it kind of makes it a little too, unfortunately, real sometimes. But thankfully, at least here, and just like you can in your own way, you can help and do something to make it better, and we're trying to do that, at least in the game tonight, in Eorzea. Alright, so we are now going to make our way to do our own investigation. We're going to speak with Swift, the Flame Commander. We're going to see what we can do to find out where the rebellion came from. Obviously, we know a little bit more than everybody else as the player, getting to know and see who actually is behind it. It's kind of like working backwards in a story. You know where the ending is going to end up being, but we get to experience the journey to get to that result. Alright, so we are a little bit of over a half hour into the stream. I do want to let you guys know that I am very excited that hopefully a little bit later, I'm thinking sometime around 7:30, 8 o'clock, I am expecting to pass the baton to Stephanie, who will be taking over to play some Sims 4 for you guys this evening. So if you are bored with the Final Fantasy XIV, or more importantly, probably bored with me if you had to pick one, hopefully we can get Stephanie in here in order to play some Sims 4 for you guys. Alright, Zazawaka, let's go and check out and see what you have to say. I think if we all had to pick who you guys wanted to watch on the stream, I think we'd pick Cooper. I know you have not had a chance to meet him yet, and I think maybe perhaps tonight we can get some Cooper time for you. But I am hopefully looking to get my Corgi Cooper on for you guys. Alright, we're gonna speak with the terrified refugee. Let's see what's got them so spooked. So much so to be hiding in a dark space behind your tent. Don't draw. And apparently we need to soothe the individual. So let's get weird. I will admit, this is probably one of the least fun parts, is having to actually take time out of the story to go to your chat, and then in your chat, you know, do a / soothe. Although, if we are being honest, I would rather that I do, you know, a backslash soothe kind of command rather than have to watch my character very awkwardly rub the back of an individual and say, there, it's gonna be okay. Alright, we've got shock and awe is the next unfortunate part of this one here. We've got the terrified refugee would have you find his brethren and convince them to lay down their arms. What do we've got? We've got auroral earrings, gloam earrings, and we've got knocked earrings. One seems to be strength and vitality, dexterity and vitality. So what do we got here? Critical hit, critical hit. Well, is there a difference between these two? Probably not. That's okay. So we'll pick between one of those two since I do want to focus on being damage dealers or being, you know, the tank class. So we are going to search the cave south of Lost Hope for the other refugees and hopefully convince them to throw down their arms. Appears to be we are making our way over to Little Alamigo. Again, I'm going to do the lazy way and teleport. And as we're making our way through one of the beast tribes here, it does remind me that I probably should do my hunting log. I think perhaps maybe we can make that a future item to do along with, like I said, perhaps doing the sightseeing quest, or maybe perhaps even doing the Disciples of the Hand and Land in order to level up those classes as well. I know it might not seem, at least it is kind of relaxing. I'm weird like that, to where if I were to take a day to do the sightseeing quest, and if I were to take on the fishing role and kind of go around, when you've got a beautiful game like this, it definitely makes it interesting. It definitely is beautiful. It's something that I enjoy taking the time to enjoy all parts of the game and not just the main story or your battle system. Alright, so we're going to make our way to the caves south of Lost Hope in order to find these other refugees. Going the wrong way. That's alright. We'll work it out. Alright, am I that lost? And I think the answer is yes. Alright, I think we're back on track now, thankfully. Well, bummer. And more just keep appearing. We end up single-handedly handling the entire refugee crisis here. I can't help but laugh at the fact that I got worried about an area of attack from a level 10 Eft, and I had to still go out of my way to dodge it. Alright, let's see if that's all. That's all she wrote. Let's go back and speak with the desperate refugee who just lost all of his friends. R.I.P. Rest in peace. Alright, now we go find the terrified refugee. Although, quite frankly, I think the desperate refugee was right now justly terrified now. It's been so long since I've been in this area that I forget half the time where the hell I'm going. Alright, we are now going to make our way over to Stone's Throw to find the merchant, hopefully have them drop their arms, and maybe get this rebellion to come to an end. So for those who, you know, are Final Fantasy XIV players, guys, I really do ask, if you are a regular, really do consider, if you don't have any ties, let's say you're a returning player, you haven't played the game for a while, and you make your way back and you don't have your community, your free company is no longer active, and you're looking for something to spicing up your game again, please do the world transfer service that's offered by Final Fantasy XIV. I know that it was probably one of the better things that I've done. I know that I was on a more populated server, and I decided to switch and make a character on a less popular server that essentially, we call them preferred servers. Preferred servers are ones where we just don't have the population right now, and it makes it so it suffers for new players, people who have not had a chance to really experience the game. It stinks when, the game is asking and requiring that you take some time to wait for a dungeon to, fill up with the appropriate amount of characters, and when you've got a large wait, it kind of takes away from that experience for a new player, and kind of similar to, again, when you got veterans who want to rush through cutscenes and dungeons, it takes away from the experience for players. So if you are someone on a more populated server, you don't have a lot of friends on there, you're not part of a free company that you're really involved in, it's a free service, it's not going to cost you any money. Go ahead and transfer your character to a preferred server. Bonus, you have, especially if you're not all and you shouldn't be with the new expansion packs that are being released now, you shouldn't be max level on everything, so hopefully you're doing some leveling. Well, guess what? You go to a preferred server, you end up getting increased experience gain. And if that alone is not reason enough to come, again, you guys get to help make the experience of some newer players that much better. And if you haven't, excuse me, it would help if I was speaking into the mic, right? If you haven't caught on by now, I am a fan of the Corgis. We've got, not our mascot, but we've got at least a Corgi on here. Almost everything. I've got something that all relates to a Corgi because of my Corgi, Cooper. And again, I'm super duper happy to be introducing him to you guys. And you know what? I think I'm going to take a very quick little break to get him to come over here and actually come and introduce him to you guys. Come on, Cooper. Come here. Let's go. Come on. Alright. He's a big loaf, so I need to kind of pick him up. It's the adventures of Loaf and Oaf. Loaf being him and Oaf being me. Come here, Coops. Come on. It's a pretty tight area in our filming space, so let me see if I can get him to come over one more time, and then I can pick him up without breaking everything here. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Get over here. Come on. Come on. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna get him, I promise. Alright, we've got Loaf and Oaf officially together once more. So everybody here would help again if I was actually speaking to you guys. We've got Cooper. This is Cooper. Cooper is a 5.5-year-old Corgi. He is a big old baby. He loves to get picked up, loves to actually spend some time with his mom and dad. And he is just an absolute ham. You can see he's got a big smile on his face right now because he enjoys actually being picked up and being held. But admittedly, when you're in a recording studio with a green screen behind you, all the lights and all of the equipment here, it ends up making it a little bit more of a stressful experience for him. So he definitely prefers to be in his own little space where he's got his bed and his bones and his water. But I think what we're going to end up doing is, so this way he can enjoy the stream with you guys, I think what we'll end up doing is, I think we'll find a way to get a Cooper cam, you know, a Corgi cam maybe, something that gets a view on Cooper so you guys can actually keep up to date with how Cooper's doing. Alright. I think that's enough for poor Cooper today. He is not a happy camper after me picking him up and putting him back down. He definitely wanted to stay with me and probably take a nap. But unfortunately for him, but fortunate for you, it's time to get back to the game. Actually, you know what? I can still take a second. He's a good boy. And I can kind of show you where he decided to fall off to. Alright. So you can actually see down here, there's Cooper right there. Just kind of sitting down right next to the computer with me, hanging out, kind of enjoying his evening, relaxing. And then you can kind of see the studio and all of its glory. So honestly, guys, it's one of those where I get done for the day doing, you know, what I do, and I make my way over to a room that I've actually now fitted to take over to be the streaming room, where I'm going to be hosting these sessions with you guys. And it really is. This is, you know, again, if you work and you're passionate about what you do, even though you do that, there are times where you really just want to take some time to enjoy something that's not part of the 9 to 5. And ever since I was a kid, I've always really loved video games. I know for me, I'm not super old, I promise, but for me, uh, doing and being able to play games with my older brother was something that I really enjoyed. So playing, you know, the Super Nintendo and being able to play Super Mario World, that was always an absolute joy for me. I know when I was, you know, single digits playing Sonic on the Sega Genesis, and, you know, growing up, really just making games a part of who I am. It really was something that I would never trade. Those memories of being able to, you know, sit down and laugh and play Battletoads or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or, you know, any real game that you could play with a family relative or a friend. Those moments really meant a lot to me growing up, and I continued to play games even as I, you know, became an adult. Always tried to find time to be able to take some time, maybe join an MMO. I've played a lot of the mainstream MMOs. I've played, you know, Lineage 2, I've played World of Warcraft, I've played Final Fantasy XI, Final Fantasy XIV, and as I do that, I'm scrolling through the text faster than I want to. My apologies. But I've been a part of a lot of the different major MMOs, even some of the Korean MMOs that made their way over and became popular in the US, like Ragnarok Online. I've had my chance to play a fair amount of MMOs, and I can say that I probably had the most fun playing Final Fantasy XI, believe it or not. That was always a real fun time. But Final Fantasy XIV is a pleasure to play as well. I'm weird. I like to go to the Gold Saucer and my northeastern wicked Hadked Pakmaka and the Boston Yard's coming out for a second there. But I do enjoy going to the Gold Saucer. I think I got it that time. Saucer, not Sasa. And I do enjoy being able to play some of the mini games that's there. Again, Triple Triad is something that I really do enjoy. I really enjoyed it, and I mentioned this in the last stream. It was probably one of my favorite things about Final Fantasy VIII. I know some people have very strong opinions about Final Fantasy VIII, but for me, I know that Triple Triad, the least you can say is that it was one of the more solid aspects of Final Fantasy VIII was the Triple Triad game. That's thankfully in here, which makes it so much fun to, you know, take some time out to be able to play a nice side quest like that, go all over the world to be able to find random opponents to play, all of which having different game modes and different little items that, or at least rules that make it different almost every time you're looking to play a hand with somebody. How very apathetic of our Alamigo friends to be able to say, or refugees, I guess is the appropriate word, to just kind of be like, well, you know what, we're not going to fight you, but we're not going to help you either. Alright, let's make our way over to Central Thanalan. Thanalan? Not really sure. Half the time I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it appropriately. Alright. Might as well leave the Steps of Thal. We're closer, rather than going and teleporting to Blackbrush Station. I can just actually walk this for once, which is very rare. I'm almost always teleporting from one place to another. Let's jump in the Magitech armor. Which, by the way, FYI, for Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix, I know you guys introduced some Final Fantasy 15 items in here, but yeah, it just kind of takes me for a loop when I'm going around the world and I'm seeing someone in what appears to be Cruella de Vil's coupe kind of just hanging around and driving around Eorzea. It kind of takes away a little bit from the feel of the game. So no offense if you happen to enjoy driving around in your Cruella de Vil vehicle from Final Fantasy 15. My apologies, trying to make no offense to you, but just don't. Go into something else. Go in the Magitech armor. At least that kind of fits like the Garlean Empire situation. Or go ahead and ride one of the various mounts or chocobos or anything really. Just try not to do the motorcycles and vehicles, guys. Oh. We're trying to intimidate the individual. Now imagine, if you will, if that was a Lalafell that was kind of there on the floor, all like 2 feet worth of the individual, and kind of doing the what? What? You could technically just punt them. And then not have to worry about them. Oh no! What happened? Very rarely do you get like an actual on-screen kind of like death like that. A lot of the times it's kind of like implied, or there's a battle. You don't see someone take an arrow to the heart like that. Would also be pretty funny if you were dressed as a bard for that particular scene, and here come the 2 stone torchmen, and there you are with your bow as a bard. Like, it wasn't me, I promise. That doesn't exist. That I don't know what you're talking about. I'm clearly an astrologian. I'm not a bard. I don't use that weapon. That ain't me. Alright, back to the steps of Nald. We'll just go ahead, I'll be lazy again, get to the major teleportation spot of there. Alright, we're reporting back to Swift over at the Immortal Flame Command Center. For anyone that noticed, I'm still private more. I have not taken the time to do the seal collecting to upgrade my level and rank. Not yet at this point in time, but I really do appreciate that as you go about interacting with these people, that they will recognize your rank. Although I wish it was a closer representation to, you know, what it otherwise would be. So I believe I'm a first rank private on my way to the next level. Yeah, so it appears here, yeah, I'm a Flame Private First Class, making my way to Flame Corporal next, and I just kind of wish that they addressed you by your full title rather than just as being private. it just gives that little extra bit of, I guess, acknowledgement for the things that you're doing throughout the game. Alright, so the next main quest is Revolution. We've got a message from Swift about, or at least from, General Roban. I'm looking at that knocked ring. That looks like that's going to be a great piece to add on to my character. Speaking of which, completely not following all of my weapons. I should probably sort everything and actually equip the weapons that are up to date. I've had the Break Blade since yesterday, and go figure, silly me, I don't even equip it. I went out of my way to equip the Onion Shield, but not the Break Blade. So, alright, let's go ahead and take a second to go through the equipment, make sure that I'm not missing anything that I would otherwise want to be wearing. Obviously, when it comes to the main gig and setup and an outfit that I'm wearing, I've got the best one that I could have at the moment. So this is more going to be for my weapon, my shield, and my accessories to make sure that I'm wearing the appropriate one. So the knocked earrings here, let's see. Actually, I want to hold on to the Aetheryte earring that I have on, because that is where, so for that, having the newest expansion pack that came out, I own it, so thankfully. It came with a really awesome accessory here, the Aetheryte earring, which bumps up your XP by 30% so long as you are under 70. I'll be wearing that until I'm 70, and then I'll switch over to a better piece from there. So let's see, Hero's Necklace Offending, Casting is next. I'm all set for the necklace. Let's take a look at what we got for our wristband. So we've got the Darklight Bracelet of Striking, the Hero's Bracelet of Fending, 13.9, so we definitely want to equip that one. How about our rings? We've got, I think, probably definite room for improve. No, apparently not. No improvement for that one, so we'll leave that there. And we are good to go. Made our appropriate changes here. Alright. We're gonna go see the Queen. Or at least I'm making that assumption based on where we're going and the picture that was shown on the quest. Alright, Chamber of Rule. Sorry guys, taking a quick look at my phone, making sure got nothing important I need to check up on. Alright, we'll get that knocked ring. Now I can equip that one, which will be a nice little addition for my character.
Swift has kept us apprised of your recent activities. You've made great strides towards quelling the violence.
Despite our best efforts to determine what provoked this uprising, the truth continues to elude us. Have you uncovered aught which might shed some light on the mystery?
This information does not leave this room. The Syndicate's decision to reject the Doman refugees' appeal for asylum had lasting repercussions. A number of those displaced by the calamity claimed it was proof of a policy of discrimination. Together with a group of Alamegan refugees, they organized a series of demonstrations to protest against the Sultanate. Demonstrations which became heated, but did not descend into violence. until a certain incident served as a call to arms.
Sorry, not pointing at you. We actually, we've got Stephanie here, so I'm going to probably make her not happy, but I'm going to take the camera and turn around and put Stephanie here. Stephanie just got into the stream room. We had some borking coming in from Cooper because he knew that she was here before I was here, and that's actually one of the good things about having the good old doggo here, is that he is a security system all within himself.
It was this atrocity which prompted the refugees to take up arms. I need not tell you what followed.
We assumed at first that the attack was born of a miscommunication. When emotions run high, they happen. But suspicions were raised regarding the unit's commanding officer, whom I ordered interrogated.
So actually, hey Stephanie, now that you're here, do you want to try and jump on for maybe 7:30? It is 7:08.
Alright, yeah, I can get on 7:30, maybe a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
For some Sims 4.
Alright, good. I know that I'd said earlier that we were hoping to get Stephanie in for some Sims 4. I'm sure she's a lot better to watch and enjoy than looking at little old me, but I think it would be nice to have a switch rather than doing all Final Fantasy XIV all the time. I think it'd be great to have her in here to do Sims 4.
Teleji Adeleji.
Teleji Adeleji.
But he spoke in favor of the Domin's cause, and has ever seemed sympathetic towards the refugees' plight. Why would he do such a thing?
Know you of the Cartano Reclamation Bill? It is a proposal to annex the Cartano Flats so that refugees may establish permanent settlements.
When last I looked, that was disputed territory.
Aye. Some might even call it a battlefield. The destruction wrought by Bahamut was greatest at the Cartano Flats. That much is common knowledge. What is less well known is that his rampage laid bare ancient Alagon ruins, of which no record existed. There are certain differences of opinion as to how these ruins should be handled, which is why each nation maintains a military presence in the region to this day. Yet differ though we may, we are still allies. Therefore, in the interest of preserving the Eorzean alliance, we have reached an agreement. Any conflict which may arise during the course of military exercises in the region shall have no bearing on relations between our nations. In full knowledge of this delicate state of affairs, Teleji Adeleji proposed the Cartano Reclamation Bill. A shameless bloody ruse which stands to benefit him in but one conceivable way. If successful, he will gain control over the disputed territory under the guise of assisting in the resettlement effort. And you can be sure he'll build an orphanage next to every Alagon ruin.
Again, as much as I enjoy, you know, Lalafels, as much as I appreciate them as characters, you just can't help but just imagine if you just pushed him, right? Just falling down. That'd be very quick to handle the bad guy here. But unfortunately, Teleji here was a friend of ours, or at least we thought he was.
The man would threaten the unity of the Eorzean alliance and risk countless lives for personal gain.
Come to find out, he's not exactly a friend of ours, and he's one of the baddies that we need to deal with because greed is the ultimate factor to power in Ul'dah, and unfortunately it causes your friends to do some pretty bad things.
On his own, independent of any faction and beholden to none of his fellows on the Syndicate.
By inciting the less fortunate to violence, he hopes to convince others that the Cartano Reclamation Bill is the only viable solution. His sympathy for the plight of the Domins was not but posturing to gain credibility with the refugees. Of that there can be no doubt.
Forgive me, but what could possibly motivate Teleji Adeleji to go to such lengths? What is so special about these ruins that he would risk his position on the Syndicate, and, most likely, charges of treason against the Sultanate?
Omega.
Pardon?
An Oligon monstrosity, not unlike the Ultima weapon. Mayhap larger, we know not. It has yet to be fully excavated.
So we had, prior to this, guys, we had the Garlean Empire main story quest that we went through, and it basically boiled up to the Ascians guiding the Garlean Empire to getting the Ultima weapon. And that Ultima weapon was the final boss battle leading into the now 7th Astral era that we're in at the moment as far as the main quest is concerned. But there seems to be an even greater weapon than the Ultima weapon, and that may be
Oligon inscriptions
Omega.
indicate that it was created to fell Bahamut himself. If accurate, it might explain why Nail Van Darnus chose to bring the Red Moon down upon the Cotonou Flats. Given the ends he went to ensure Eorzea's annihilation, destroying the one weapon which could stay the Elder Primal may well have seemed like good sense.
When first I bore witness to the power of the Ultima weapon, I doubted the evidence of my senses. And now you tell me there is another such weapon, one which could contend with Bahamut. Bahamut!
Aye, we were skeptical ourselves. Truth be told, until the Ultima weapon's existence came to light, we thought the inscription had been mistranslated.
At present, Omega is more akin to a fossil than a tool of war, having long since ceased to function. As such, its true potential cannot accurately be gauged. However, if someone were to restore it, as the Garleans did the Ultima weapon, I have little doubt that he would wield untold power.
Power enough to subjugate Uldar like as not, and the rest of Eorzea besides, which is doubtless why Teleji Adeleji yearns to have it.
That he should aspire to world domination. He who has ever walked 2 paces behind Lord Lolorito in matters of commerce.
'Tis in acknowledgement of his own limitations that he seeks this power. Woe betide us all should we allow him to have it.
Pray waste no time chasing rats. Only a fool would believe that secrets can be kept in Uldar.
It would seem the implications of the Sultanate's refugee problem are rather more far-reaching than we assumed.
Alright, quest is complete. We're gonna go back to Alphanod for Stories We Tell. It says here, recent revelations heavily weigh on Alphanod's mind. What do we got? We've got the Even Star and Daystar rings available to us. I'm gonna go probably with the Daystar in order to keep a potential secondary set for a healer in the near future. We got paladins being paladins, not being very nice to children. So I think what we'll end up doing is we will finish up this quest that I'm doing at the moment. We will then make our way to a quick intermission We'll be right back. I think we'll get everything set up so we can get Stephanie in here to be able to start streaming for you guys some Sims 4 for your enjoyment. As we talked about before, we've got the lodestone coming in, and our character weirdly takes his glove and mitt and puts it up to his ears. Kind of brings me to think, like I said, whether or not if this was more set in like a Game of Thrones situation to where we wouldn't be able to just put our hand up to our ear and speak with people, we'd have to wait a week for a raven to make its way from one city to another. Would certainly make this, and at least this stream and the storyline, go a hell of a lot slower than what it's currently going right now. Alright, looks like they want us to make our way over to the 12's Wood. Alright, we are going to speak with Minfilia over at the Rising Stones. That will then be the end of my time with you guys this evening. That's because our little checkmark tells us that as soon as we turn that in, this will be coming to an end. Alright, to the Rising Stones. Alright, we're gonna get that Daystar ring, complete this, and we will make a quick switch over to our opening scene so I can wrap this up for you guys. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in this evening to watch me play a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV. I am extremely excited for what there is to come. I am going to be continuing doing my series on Final Fantasy XIV, but I know that I'm open to suggestions as to what I can do to make this a little bit more enjoyable for you guys. I really would love to play some Gwent for you guys. I know that I said I really do enjoy Triple Triad from the Final Fantasy series. I'm also a very big fan of Gwent from the Witcher series. I'm a big fan of Fallout as well. I am a big fan of really anything that's going to be RPG related. So any comments you guys do have, please feel free. Put it into the chat, email us, send us a message, let us know what you're hoping to see. Either way, I'm extremely excited for the opportunity to be here with you. We're going to take this time now to take a quick break. We're going to switch over. We're going to get Stephanie into the player's seat, and she's going to be playing some Sims 4 for you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. And again, hope to see you soon. Have a great evening, everybody.